What is going on, everybody? Kamusta kayo lahat mula sa Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, or wherever the heck you are on the planet? This is your one and only Jake of all trades, the place to be for any niche, every genre, and all generations. I'm your master of ceremony, D to the E to the LRO, aka JDR, aka the extraordinary introvert. So before we start, apparently may sumasabay na asa sa akin, but it's all part of the experience, right? So welcome, guys. This is Honesty Take 2. I won't act like this
That's
is a
my
perfect,
dog. I'm sorry.
I won't act like this is a perfect recording, but I'm gonna break my rule for a little bit, but basically shit happens, and I'm sorry. But anyways, we're back here on another episode. This is the continuation of the adulting series, and we are joined today by two very wonderful guests. So the last time we got to hear about the experiences from the adulting king, in this case Mark. This time around, we're going to hear from the adulting queens. And another difference, the first guest is already in his 30s, so he's been there, done that. He's had his quarter-life crises. But these next pair of guests, they're currently in their 20s just like me, and they're continuing to traverse through the life of adulting. And this is actually a very highly demanded episode. My parents actually wanted me to tap you guys in the moment I launched this podcast. So after a couple of episodes here and there, here we are. I finally got both of these wonderful guests in. So without further ado, let's give it up for my good cousin Lia Alejo and for her good friend Niki Almario. Come on down to the chat.
Woo. So, hi guys. Thank you very much, Jake, for that very enthusiastic introduction. So I'm Lia Alejo. I am 23 years old. I graduated in 2018 in Ateneo with a degree in Diplomacy and International Relations, or DIPIR in Ateneo. And currently, I'm a qualitative research associate in a market research company. So that's me.
Nice.
And
Good stuff.
sorry. And I'm Niki Almario I just graduated from Management Economics last May 2020. So yes, I'm a quarantine grad. I also have a minor in Spanish, and currently I'm still job hunting, but I work part-time for my family businesses. So I do marketing stuff on the side, and I do secretarial work on the other side. So yeah.
Nice.
That's a very great detailed resumes from the both of you. I feel like hearing those alone will give me a glimpse of what this episode will look like. It's gonna be jam-packed, and I feel like these girls are gonna give very solid, valuable knowledge and pieces of advice to most of my viewers, by the way, who like I said earlier or in the previous episode, it appears that most of my viewers are ranged between 18 to 27 years old. So most of my niche audience are those who are in the middle of their adulting crises. So I'm sure you guys are going to do great service to my viewers. So let's get the show on the way. So before we start, are there any wacky, crazy adulting stories you guys would like to share? I don't think we got to discuss this with Mark the previous time, but or extensively, that is. But now is there your chance to fill in for that. So are there any weird, amazing stories you would like to share the moment you guys got out of college? So Lia can start, I guess.
Okay. So this was during my application for an internship. So one of the things that I wrote there, like additional skills or special skills there, was that I took some basic Spanish because of my high school days, and then some basic French because I took some French courses during my junior year. So when my bosses saw that in my resume, one of them spoke full-on French on me. So I was like, oh no, I'm sorry, I did not quite understand that. I'm very sorry. So that was quite a slap on the face, but thankfully I still got the internship, so that's good. All good.
Wow. That's crazy. That's your welcome to the real world moment right there. All right, Nikki, your
Yes.
turn.
Yes, it is.
So like when I graduated, right, I'm applying for different jobs. Got like rejected from like a few because there's not much that are like offering. So my friends, since I have a minor in Spanish, they all tagged me and joked about, oh, you should apply to our high school. Like you should apply as a Spanish teacher. And I was like laughing along. And then my mom sees it, and she was like, you should apply. And like in the back of my mind, I'm like, I can't teach children. No puedo enseñar las niñas. No, not teaching children. I don't want to teach the children.
Wow. That is a very multilingual entrance to adulthood, to say the least. On one end, one is trying to learn French on the spot. On the other hand, you have someone being persuaded to learn Spanish as her first medium of earning income. That is very amazing indeed. Very out of this world. Very extraordinary. So now, with your stories out of the way, what were some of the things you guys did in order to survive the world of adulting? Like, were there any pieces of advice that you guys received? Were there any own discarte moments that you guys pulled off yourselves? I would like to know these, and I'm sure some of my listeners would, as they are trying to navigate their own world of adulting themselves. So, basically for my next question, what are some of the things you guys did, and what are some of the pieces of advice that were given to you in order to survive this cruel and cold world we live in, apparently?
So maybe for me, one of the things that I guess most fresh graduates are frustrated about is that when employers look for new hires, some of them require at least some months of experience, years of experience. So of course, being fresh graduates, we do not have that kind of experience. So maybe a good advice that was given to me during that time was that maybe you can gain experience in internships. Internships are like a job, but of course it's not like you're not hired as an employee, but an intern, you do the thing that they ask you, they ask for help. You get the knack of things inside that place where you're interning in, and that way you can gain some experience. So I think that's a good way to start. Of course, some do not require it, but maybe for me as a personal thing, it did help because I got some of the things they're like confidence and growth.
Nice. I actually like the answer right there. The whole expose yourself first in the world of working through internships, because even though like they're not paying you full time yet, it still pays to have experience, exposure, and for pragmatic purposes, nakatulong to sa pagdagdag ng mga info sa CV or sa cover letter. So yeah, very good advice right there.
Yes.
Okay, what about you, Nikki? What were some of the things you did in order to survive?
Well, the thing is, like, my parents really encouraged that, it's gonna be hard to find a job. Why don't you like study a little bit? So they encourage you to take like online classes.
Yeah.
And like, what's been keeping me sane? Well, it's hard to keep sane actually, because like when I see in like LinkedIn, a lot of my batchmates have gotten jobs because like they have been applying since like March, February. Like for me, I did not get the chance to do that. Like I applied for a job on December, it didn't work out, and then March, I was like, okay, I have too much things to do because I had something to do with COA, the Council of Organizations of the Ateneo. I also had like my own ACADS, my thesis was still ongoing, so it would be like really hard to like balance doing all three, plus I still have like my own social life on the side. So like now I felt like I was having that feeling that I'm regretting not doing those things earlier, because like now everyone has a job, but I don't have a job. I was like getting sad because like, oh no, all my friends got jobs. And then at one point I was also getting like kind of pissed because like, is part of the bad words?
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
That's
I
fine.
kind of got pissed because like I have like friends whose friends are influencers, or like they're very famous in social media, and like for me it kind of sucks that like yeah, maybe they're students, or yeah, maybe they're out of college, but like their livelihoods and their everything isn't really being affected because they're still getting sponsorships, they're still making their YouTube videos, they're still getting money from it. So I'm like, wow, like y'all don't have to work so hard, and then you're still getting money. And I'm like, here I am like scrambling trying to find a job, like all of that. And I was getting super like sad about it. And then my friends and having my friends, and like I also have seen a counselor recently, they've said don't compare yourself to others, and just do it slowly. Like you have that goal in mind to get a job, don't compare, like tunnel vision it, like whatever with all your other problems muna. Let's solve one problem at a time. So right now, get a job if you can find we could find like we could find one and all that. And then and like don't compare yourself to others part is hard, but like it kind of goes into the everyone has their own pace and thing. Life isn't a race. It's a journey. So it's like even if now I'm not like satisfied just working part-time for my parents, at least like I'm also doing other stuff on the side. So like that's my journey right now, and maybe in like a month or two I would have a job, like an actual an actual paying, not with my parents' job.
Yeah. Wow, thank you for all your stories, guys. Especially Nikki's. Like, well, of course I take away from Lia, but Nikki's was so relatable to what I was going through this whole year, even before the whole pandemic started. Because I like what you touched on about you starting to get a little bit mad at yourself, a little bit or a whole lot insecure. Because believe it or not, guys, I've actually went through all these things myself. Because with the whole new normal happening, it was so hard for me myself. Like, having been out of college for a whole year already, still scrambling while you have fellow batchmates of mine already getting ranked up to certain higher levels and stuff. It was starting to take a toll on me. And personally, I myself started to get insecure and all of that. But hearing these stories from you, and also hearing Lia's early struggles before finding her own security, like it made me realize that, hey, I'm not alone in this boat. I'm not alone in my own journeys of struggles and setbacks and adversity. It just goes to show you that life ain't perfect, and more so the adulting life especially. There's gonna be so many roadblocks each and every one of you guys will be facing. But I guess the main message all of us are trying to imply through these two girls over here is to just stop comparing yourself and to just realize that you have your own pace, and that everything else will start clicking in its own perfect time.
Yes, I agree. And especially since adulting, there is no like set rule book or a handbook for that. And of course, we know that there are a lot of people or teens or young adults in our age going through the same thing, but it's not being really expressed explicitly, maybe because they're kind of shy or embarrassed about their experiences, about getting rejected and not getting the interview, not getting the position. But I would say it's all part of growing up. It's part of growing up. It's part of life. It's part of building your character. Because of course, we're all going to have our own fair share of rejections and failures, but it's all part of life, and we should not be embarrassed to talk about it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Of course, with the right people.
Of course.
That's true. That's what my counselor also said. Like, don't be afraid of failure or rejection, because you'll just never move forward if you're gonna keep doing that. Like, I don't know. It's like if you keep looking it's a weird thing that if you keep looking at your past, you're not gonna move forward. If you keep looking too much in the future, you're not gonna look, or you're really too anxious about the future, you're not gonna move forward. But at the same time, it's like people are like, you have to also live in the present, or else you'll miss out on everything. So it's just weird. Like, you know, live in the present, remember your past, and don't make it hold you back. But don't get anxious of your future. Like, use it as the anchor to like make you move forward. Like that's another advice that I got from someone.
Yeah, that is so true. That is so
Very good.
correct. I think it's all about perspective, especially now in this very unpredictable times. I think too much overthinking about the future's uncertainties and all that will just get you dumbfounded. Meanwhile, too much looking back on the past, which is something I myself am guilty of personally, it's not going to make you move forward. So it's really just finding a perfect balance. It's really just, yun nga, sabi ni Lia, like finding the right people to talk these with.
Yep.
And this actually leads me to another tip that I have. And in the previous episode, we didn't really touch upon this, but I feel like this is also very timely now. Adulting isn't just about filling up government IDs, submitting resumes to certain companies and all that. Yes, that's the bulk, but it's not the entire piece. It's not the entire cake, basically. Adulting also involves a lot of letting go. So there's gonna be so many old friendships you had back in your childhood that will slowly drift away, whether you like it or not. So I actually want to discuss these with you guys, because as much as I'm the extraordinary introvert, I'm surrounded right now by two very extraordinary extroverts. So I want to know your perspectives on what it means to start detaching yourself from certain people, even though deep down you want to be friends with them for life. So I guess, I don't know, anyone can start, but I guess si Lia muna, because she's the oldest of the three of us.
So maybe it's not a matter of really detaching fully, but it's more of managing time, because of course we're all busy doing our own things. I can't force them to like, hey, talk to me. Come on, just give me some time, you know? I can't do that. So it's really adulting in this sense. It means a lot. It entails a lot of patience and understanding, especially because we don't see each other anymore every day. Not like in school. Of course, they have stories about their lives that they're not telling me, or they haven't had the chance to tell me. So it's really all a matter of understanding and patience, and that okay, maybe he or she can talk to me right now because maybe they're busy. It's okay. We can talk another time. So it's really that's my way of framing. That's how I frame my mindset right now with my friends. And of course, making new friends. That's good because of course now in a different environment. I'm not in school anymore. I'm at work, and I have work friends. I have school friends, and it's also a matter of gaining new friendships, new relationships, new connections. So it's also balancing those old friendships and new friendships, but of course, ultimately, not letting anyone go if I can, because that's how my character gets built. I still remember my past relationships, my past friendships, and of course, holding on and building my new one. So it's like it's a balance. Again, as you said, it's all about balance.
Yep, definitely.
Yes.
For me, it's just like what Lia said. It's like it's a balance, but it's also finding time to spend with friends. I don't know, because I was the type that I have really low maintenance friendships. It was only this year I realized, before I graduated, like, oh my gosh, I feel bad that I didn't get to spend that much time with certain friends because I was too busy. You know that feeling that you're so busy with your goals or where you're going that you kind of forgot that you spent so much time on that you forgot that you have friends to spend time with, all that. So it's just like Lia said, trying to find the balance and time for your friends, like both new, old, whatever, and trying to find the balance between what you want to do in your life. And like I also had like that that weird not really thankfulness, but like because quarantine is like such a standstill talaga. So like
Yeah, super, super.
what happened? What happened was like with my friends, we ended up talking more because of quarantine. Because like they're all pretty lonely and sad too. So like on Friday, like let's say on Fridays, I have something scheduled with my college friends. On Saturdays, we have something scheduled with the ACMG alumni, and like ACMG was our org. Like all three of us were all in the same org in college. And then like on different days, it's just spontaneous. But like my high school friends would like all chat in our group chat and all that. Like before quarantine, our group chat was like last active like January. And then now it's like active every week, so it's like, oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty amazing, because my dad actually has a similar situation, because now actually just a while ago he just came from a conversation with all five of his siblings all over the world. So that never happened during the or that never happened pre-new normal. So I guess going back to what Niki mentioned, really, if anything, this is the best time to rekindle old friendships. But I also have to go back to what Lia mentioned earlier about how even though there may be some friends that are drifting away from you, baka mailan na ghost ka for no reason. Like you may have not done anything at all, but they're just ghosting you for no reason. That's the reality. But as much as you have these type of friends that drift away for no reason, there are also new acquaintances, there are new colleagues, there are new friends that you meet outside the world of adulting. So since I mentioned earlier, you guys are extroverts and I'm the lone introvert here, what are your takes on this idea of networking in terms of it being a very integral piece when it comes to adulting? Like, how do you actually generate or gain, as much friends as you can that are not, of your own, that are very diverse, that are very different from the ones you've had during your schooling years, so to speak?
I'll let Niki start.
Like it's not really okay. Cause like in fourth year, I had like I've met like a good amount of people. Like the guy I'm dating now is actually like not even Atenean. He's from LaSalle.
Wow. Crazy.
So that's like a far off world there. So the thing was, for me, it's the story was like how I met like the guy and like his group of friends was I went on a date with the guy's roommate, and then because of that, like I got introduced to like everyone in their group, circle of friends. So it's like that in a way. Like I'm not saying the advice is go on a date with someone that you're gonna meet you're gonna make more friends through that. Yeah, but like a lot of people, it's like for a lot of people, it's not just making friends is really to get out of your comfort zone. Like even for an extrovert, it's like, yeah, I could have like so many friends, but like you have to know that when you have to network or when you have to make friends with people, it's get out of that comfort zone. Like, like for me, my comfort zone was I have a lot of friends, but they're mostly Ateneans. They're mostly from UP, like they're Katip people. So it's really, those are the people like I've known for 4 years of college, and like these people are from Taft, and then like it's harder to relate because in Katip we have all the same bars, we have all the same places we eat and go to, and then like in Taft it's like, oh, they have their own bars, they have their own culture in Taft that's like way different from Katip. So it's to get out of that comfort zone and try to learn a little bit about like how things are. Like it's not even that different because we're all in college. We were all in college and we're like all young adults, but the fact that the school cultures of all of our schools are different, and the cultures of like the street where our where our universities are located are different. So there's that.
Wow. That whole dating story was very out of this world.
Funny.
Like, all right, Lia, before I interject, like, do you have anything to add? Like, with regards to the whole networking thing?
Networking thing. Okay. So maybe something to give it a concrete background. So the internship that I attended, I was with international citizens. They were from Europe, they were from the United States, they were from South America, Asia, and all over the world. So it was a literal networking because I'm one of the few Filipinos there. And maybe one thing that kept me going, because of course, even though you claim or you say that I'm an extrovert, of course there are times where I am also shy. I also want to keep to myself. Of course, I'm not an extrovert 24/7. So one thing I keep in mind there is just just to let the personality the personality that I know of myself to like shine through. So it's not overthinking anything, just letting them know who I am as a person genuinely, because of course it's my first time to meet them and vice versa. So it's really just that, knowing myself and just letting people know who I am genuinely. So I know who they will be also in the future, and create new friends and connections right there.
Yeah, you guys hit it on the dot right there. It's all about just finding a right balance between choosing your friends and just as much as it's very important to try to befriend everybody, at the same time you can't be everyone's best friend. Then, like, it's all about just finding your solid network, or just finding your solid inner circle that will keep you going, that will keep you sane, that will just keep you on the lookout, basically, like for the most parts of the week or the month or even the year. I think it's all about picking and choosing the ones that will really be by your side and will really just defend you, and also know where you can improve on for the majority of your life. So those are some very interesting networking stories. Anyways, I know we've been spilling a lot of tea, but again, I guess if I were to share naman, I'm basically the exact opposite. I'm such a huge introvert. I'm a very reserved person. I'm sure these two couldn't agree with me anymore. Like, I'm sure in school, I was this very timid guy, big guy out there. And sa mga lahat dyan na dinadma ko back in college, I'm really sorry. Like, if anything, if you guys want to guess for me to make up for my timid facade, like, by all means, just kulit mo lang ako sa DM. Like, I'm down. I'm down to make up for my snobbish moments with you guys. But yeah, I guess that's also the reason why I started podcasting, as a new means or as a new way to transition into my adulting life. Because I'm an introvert, so that means nahihiya ako magsalita. Make no mistake about it, the very first episode that I have, I was really sweating as heck, because even though I was talking to myself, I knew that I was going to submit this stuff to a wide audience, and it's a worldwide audience, mind you. I've had people from Canada, US, even Australia pull up to my podcast and say, "Yo, you're amazing." So that in itself was difficult for me, even though I'm not getting paid, even though it's not an employment thing, it's still an adulting thing, because it's getting out of your comfort zone. It's doing something you don't want to do, but at the very least you're 50-50 about it, because of the anxieties, because of the inner voices that give you fear and all that. But here I am now, 6 episodes in, and we're still growing, we're still continuing, and I'm really grateful to the both of you for just being all in to my new project. Like, I truly appreciate it.
Support.
Yeah, of course. I'm an extrovert, but I don't think I can do what you're doing. You're really good. I can do podcasts. Only guest.
And like, even if my friends and I plan how to podcast, like the podcast, our problem is we have no coherent plans or anything. It's like, when I saw your podcast, like, wow, you have like topics. It's like, even though it's so chill, it's like there's like a structure to how you podcast. So I'm like, I can't do that. There's no structure if my friends and I would ever podcast.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, I do try to structure it, even though like I try to cater to as much topics, as much people in general. Like it's really me trying to be as inclusive as possible while maintaining, you know, a certain amount of organization. Because at the same time, kung masyadong scattered naman yung mga pinag-uusapan ko, baka all of a sudden mawala na ako ng, you know, listeners and all that. But more importantly, baka maguluhan lang ako personally. So yeah, I'm truly appreciative of the fact that you notice how I structure my episodes, how I curate and handpick them myself. So that's amazing stuff. So now that we've discussed, you know, working, government IDs, networking, is this stay-at-home structure another indicator of being an adult? Because usually the welcome or the initiation to adulthood, your welcome to the real world moment is if you move out of the house. But now that we're gonna be stuck here for quite some time, can you still see yourself adulting? Like despite, you know, still being stuck with family, still being in the same house for an X amount of years. Like, just tell me about this whole new work from home or just stay at home setup being integral to the world of adulting, especially right now that we are in this never-ending cycle of the new normal.
I mean, honestly, my family has that thing that we're really like, oh, you're not married, stay in the house. You're not like, I think the only times we're gonna condo, yeah, the only times we're gonna condo is if we live too far from our anything. And like, even if I live too far, like I would tell my parents, like, oh, if I'm applying for DOF, fingers crossed that I'm still applying, guys, for DOF. What's this? I told them I'm gonna apply for DOF, and it's like strategically, my brother has a condo that is close to DOF, because like DOF is in Manila. It's in the Malate area, and then his condo is in Taft.
It's very far.
It's like 5 minutes away. And my brother condos, because you know it's hassle to go back to Katip every day just to go home.
Exactly.
Yes.
So like for me, I was like telling my parents that, but they were like, "No, you're going back home regardless of wherever your job is." I'm like, okay, but yeah, I don't think moving out. I don't think any of that's integral to adulting. I think like the biggest integralness, if that is a word, to being an adult is slowly making your own independence. And like living with your family is still, you can still find your own independence even while you live with them. Like if you know, like let's say with your finances, like before it's like your parents would pay for your deliveries, like whatever you want to buy, but then now it's like, oh, since you're, you know, like they're not gonna give you allowances or anything, so it's your job just to like make the money and budget how you're gonna use your money per week, because you can't you know, plan I'm gonna save up this amount of money and then I'm gonna buy this thing in Shopee the next week.
Yeah,
you can't do that. Like you'll have to like plan, okay, if I have like this much disposable income, I'm gonna splurge. That's like, I think that's how like one thing of independence. And like the others, like,
yes,
I mean the others would be like, honestly, like obviously, like if you have a job or you're doing your job, it's your own. I have to balance the time between, you know, doing my job and like being at home with the family, even though you're still at home. Because what I've noticed to like a lot of my friends is they've made a spot in their house where they could just do work. It's like their little office. And like in my house, my little office is like the dining room, because I know I'm gonna fall asleep in my bedroom. And like it's a weird thing because like less than 5 feet away, my lola is painting her portraits and her landscapes. And like I have to pretend my lola's not there, so I can have that sense of Like I'm being independent. I'm being a working adult in my working space. I'm not at home just wearing pambahay while doing work. That's like what I'm. That's like what I try to do to feel there's like some separation of home and work.
Wow, that's basically me and my dad every day, because you see the monitor right there. That's actually where my dad works. Like that's his office every single day. And this table is where I do my recording. So I can really relate to what you're going through right now, Nick. So so it looks like you're very used. Medyo sanay ka na sa stay-at-home setup. But I'm sure for Lia over here, I'm sure this is torture for you right now, because if you guys don't know, she's been to all the places. She's been there, done that. She's been through Europe. She went through New York. I'm sorry kung naiiyak ka with all this, but bottom line is she's been all around the world. She's everywhere. So I'm sure now that she's stuck at home like the rest of us, this must be living torture for you. Is that a yes or kaya naman? Have you
I would
this
say
well?
yeah and a no. But I can 100% agree with Nikki, especially gaining independence while at home, like if that even makes sense. But in a way, because living outside the house, like Nikki, it's like every family, every Filipino household, you can only get out when you're married. So okay, that's out of the question. So it's really gaining your own small independence, small steps of independence here at home. And then especially now that working from home, the lines between work and out of work hours are being blurred. So sometimes at night I would do some work just to catch up with the work for the next day. So it's, in a sense, it gets tiring at that way, because how I relax after work would be like hanging out with friends or going out, eating outside, going to cafes. That's my thing, and of course I can't do that right now. So that's a real challenge for me right now. Working from home is quite challenging, but it helps to have your own little office. So I have a desk here, that's where I do my work. And then just being isolated, like from outside the house, so I don't hear any noise, or like no one can just really just call me and expect me to do some other work. So it's really focusing on office work for the day, and then that's it. It's quite difficult and challenging, but I'm taking it day by day, just like adulting.
Yep. That's what it's all about, really. Just the daily grind. Even though we think that the things we do are simple, it's really just baby steps that matter. It's what makes us develop and grow into like more fully renowned professional adults. Like even that small trip to the grocery, that signature on that government ID, just making sure your parents are staying at home and you yourself are doing the groceries, the market trips. These may seem simple back then, but these are like very extraordinary chores now in this special time that we're living in.
Yes.
And staying home is just no different. It's nothing different at all.
Can I say something funny in regards to government IDs?
Go ahead.
Okay, so the week before quarantine was career fair in Ateneo, so it was like all the career stuff was there, and they even had like a booth to help us apply for government IDs. So I was scheduled for the following week to get my NBI clearance, to get my SSS, like the following week and the week after that, and then all of a sudden quarantine. So yeah, I do not have any of my government IDs just because of that.
Oh my gosh, that's sad.
Oh no. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's a special understanding. It's an extraordinary situation, so I think it can be understood.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. As with anything, it's all about timing.
Yeah, I'll be back in a little bit because I'm just gonna do something for a sec. Sorry.
No worries.
10
No worries.
minutes.
All right.
No worries.
Yeah.
See you guys in a bit.
All right.
Okay.
Take care. All right. So welcome back, guys. So as you guys noticed, Nikki had to go a little bit, do some errands, even though it's a Sunday as of this recording. But we are now back. And while off air, we figured that it would be nice to talk about some of the hobbies, some of the things that would be worth doing while keeping yourselves sane in this very new season that we're dealing with, which is adulting. So since Lia was the one who suggested this segment, ikaw muna yung magsimula for us.
Okay, so one of the few things I bought last year with my own first salary and whatever, it's a ukulele. So now during the quarantine, I've had a lot of time to learn how to play it, how to learn a few songs, and it's what's keeping me sane during this quarantine because learning a new song I try to learn a new song every day and learning and hearing myself play it. It's actually quite energizing and I'm quite happy with how I'm doing. So that's one, playing a new instrument. I never thought that I would play an instrument until this quarantine.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice. I've seen your stories and sobrang may potential to say the least.
Thank you.
Yeah, post them in your
I've seen
highlights.
his stories.
Post them in your highlights para makita ng iba.
Don't make it just your
Sure.
close friends.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
So for Lia,
So-
it's ukulele. For Niki naman, it's...
For me, I got back to an old habit because I in college I didn't really draw as much because I was like, because when I draw it was usually in class, and when I draw in class I don't listen at all. So now I'm like, I'm going back to drawing. And
Okay.
then oh yeah, baking. I got into baking recently.
Yes.
Like for the past few months.
Nice.
Like, since we live kind of near, we can just like drop it off near your gates.
Nice.
But yeah, I've been baking. It's a slow process because when I don't really bake, and like my first few sorry, my dad just like opened the door. The first few times I tried baking, I accidentally burnt not really burnt, but it became crispy instead of actually chewy.
Chewy.
Like I burnt cake, I burnt crinkles, I burnt brownies. So I'm just like, it's a learning curve, but it's fun to bake.
Mm-hmm.
Too bad everyone's baking now because baking supplies have like been off the shelf for a while too.
Yeah, that's
I would want to
true.
taste your baking.
Because I could bring it one day.
Yep, it seems that baking has went from just a simple hobby to now a bunch or a multitude of local businesses if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So for me naman, well, besides this podcast, of course, I also write a lot of blogs. Like, I haven't been doing it as much now because now I've been focusing on this new side project of podcasting. But yeah, once in a while, maybe once a month, hopefully I can make it once a week again. I write a couple of blogs on the Extraordinary Introvert WordPress website. And I want to give these two a shout out because they've been reading my blogs even back in college. And hopefully, once I know how to manage my time well, I will get back into the blogging scene. If anything, I'm going to write about how I started this podcast, just to calibrate, these side projects of mine.
Next thing you know, it becomes a blog. Vlog talaga, like vlog.
We'll see.
Yes.
Jake Delro and YouTube.
Actually, I do have an account, but it's mostly about these podcasts. So we're gonna figure out whether mag-level up ako in terms of content. So now that
Posted.
Yep. So now that we have these hobbies and all these very valuable nuggets of inputs and advice and information out of the way, I guess as a final wrap-up, what are your final messages to my viewers and even to some of your friends who may be listening to this podcast? Like, to those who are in the middle of their adulting, or for even those who are like 30 and above but still don't know the nuances and don't know the tricks and tips of just adulting in general, or even a teenager who is curious about how to explore and to traverse the world of adulting at a young age, or who have no choice but to do so because of certain circumstances. Like, what are your final pieces of advice to those who want to, or for those who either want or need to pursue this world of adulting?
Who wants to start?
Okay, I'll start. Maybe the most valuable thing that I've learned with I think it's been 2 years out of college. So it's really that it's not a race. Adulting is not a race. I felt the pressure myself, like what Niki was telling us about earlier, about people having jobs and then you still being like jobless, like what also Jake mentioned earlier. So for me, it's really not a race. No one is keeping track of what you're doing. Maybe it's really pressure that maybe you're imposing upon yourself. So I just want to tell everyone that take it easy, be kind to yourself. Do not let any pressure get to you. But maybe if it does, maybe it's a good thing to like vent it out to your close friends and just tell them how you're feeling. I think it really helps a lot. So it's really about finding your place in the world, but not really in a hurry. So just do it at your own pace. Adulting is not a race. It's about how you grow as a person, mature as a person on your own pace. It's really that.
Mm-hmm. In simpler terms, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's like a Nicki Minaj song that had a lyric like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I think it was Megatron. If ever the lyric comes up, the lyric will come up.
Yeah.
For me, my advice is like Lias, life is a journey, not a race. And when opportunities come, take it.
Yeah.
Because like because I have seen, like what Lia said, what Jake, what you've said also, there are people like who are in their 30s and they still don't know how to adult, or they're still trying to be they're still adulting pa.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, I've seen like adults who are our dad's ages and they still are adulting because they don't know how to adult yet. So it's like, and it's because they haven't really taken the opportunities that, like, there's so many opportunities that present themselves that they're like, I'm waiting for the right opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna say, for everyone who's adulting, take all the opportunities, shot in the dark, all that stuff. Like, we're still pretty young. There's still we could still risk a lot compared to like when we're older, that because we still have like a lot of because we still have a lot of safety nets, especially since we're just like putting our feet into the water pa. Like compared to like if you're older, there's not we're already pretty submerged, and like you could, like, any risk you take, though it's good to take risks, it's riskier because like there's more chances for you to like drown into the water.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's just that's my advice. Just take the risk, take the opportunities, go for it. There's nothing to lose but to lose the opportunity, the chance, or those things in general.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are just straight up bars right there. And basically, in short, the shots you miss are the ones you don't take. And I know I said that in the previous episode, but I'm just going to reiterate that because it is so important to just attempt your shots and to just, take advantage of these opportunities that are presented at you. Like, the worst thing you can do to yourself is just have these inner thoughts like hinder you from doing the things that you want to do and for taking these risks. Of course, it's important to take calculated risks, but it's also it won't mean a thing if you don't end up doing that risk. So yeah, I agree with Niki. Just take those shots because you never know how much they will impact or even change your life in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for me, I actually have a couple, but just to simplify, I think number one, life doesn't end at 25. I saw that post on Facebook like just this week. Usually we have this misguided notion that you have to do all the things you want to do at 25. And I agree, because that's youthful energy. while you're young, right, do all the things. But now that we are in this new normal, if anything, it kind of robbed us of doing the things, or at least some of the things that we want to do. Like certainly we can't travel. Certainly we're not mobile enough anymore to just go around outside nonchalantly and just carefree, even though deep down we have these desires. Me personally, I have those desires, but now we have to be extra careful with our movements and all that. But even though like most of us are stuck at home and all that stuff, it doesn't mean that our life is going to stop here. It doesn't mean that life will end at 25. Like, you never know. Maybe by 30, you might get your big break. I'm not saying it's going to take that long, but as Lia mentioned earlier, it's all about knowing your timeline, and it's about just respecting yourself in terms of like when these things are going to happen, not rushing yourself, and just really opening yourself up to new opportunities. So I think for me, life doesn't end at 25. And even if you think that what you do is quote unquote a little too late or a little behind schedule, they're still about to happen regardless. So that's just one important advice that I can give myself and I can give to my viewers and listeners. And number 2, and I think this is super important, your network does not equate your net worth. They complement each other. Yes, we're not gonna lie. It's important to have a solid networking system. It's important to like gain some acquaintances, some friends, but at the same time, they shouldn't fully define your net worth or your self-worth in general, like how much you can bring to the table and all that. They should just be complementary, but they should not be equals to each other. I think that though it is important to build a network, it doesn't equate to you being your full potential or you being who you want to be. That'll be up to you at the end of the day. So in this world of adulting where everything is laid in front of your face, whether it's looking for work, getting those government IDs, and all the other extra stuff on the side, really it's just all about balance. I think as mentioned by Lia and Niki kanina, it's all about finding the right balance, is finding the right timing, and it's really associating yourself with the right people in order to have not the most perfect, but certainly the most ideal setup for just adulting life in general. So those are just some of my final words of advice before we wrap it up right here. So are there any last minute like advice or tips? I know I keep saying that over and over, but there may have been stuff that you guys want to include that you may have forgotten earlier. So now's your chance.
I agree with the network isn't your net worth, because like I've seen people who's like they can be really popular around, like have so many people like as their network, but if they're not gonna do anything about, because like the people around you is one thing, but you moving towards your goals is like a whole other banana. So like so like if you need the network obviously because it helps you advance, but if you already have a network and you're not doing anything with it, then that's just another opportunity lost with that. Like that's it.
Couldn't agree with you more.
And I like what you said about life doesn't end at 25, because like I've seen people who are like, I have a cousin who only got like his biggest break now and he's like what, mid-30s.
Oh wow.
So it's like, for me, it's like after all of like the odd jobs and everything, he's finally a pilot, which is right now on standstill because of quarantine. But hey, who knows? He got his big break as a pilot, and then there's still a chance that he could still fly again soon, or fly with a different company and all that stuff.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Best wishes to your friend who's a pilot.
Cousin.
Or cousin.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Cousin.
All right. How about you, Lia? Any final words or any like reactions and stuff?
I would second the motion about life not ending at 25, because of course, for example, you're fixed on a path right now, and then maybe you get a few bumps along the way. So adulting is not a linear thing. It can be like a zigzag thing, but then what's important is you have to be resilient and know grit. Grit is very important because amid all those setbacks and bumps along the way, you know your goal. So even though you get a lot of what they call this, detours towards that goal, but you know what your goal is, then that alone, like setting your mind to it, for me, that alone is adulting. It's not just about government IDs, not just about having jobs. It's all about maybe establishing or setting a future for yourself, but of course not to the point that it's your only path.
Yeah.
You just have to be resilient along the way and be flexible about it.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely.
it's like that. For me, that's
Definitely.
adulting. Yeah.
Couldn't agree anymore with what you guys said earlier. So with that out of the way, we're gonna call it a wrap here. Thank you very much, Lia and Niki, for taking the time. I know it's Sunday. I know gusto nyo lang matulog, especially now in this cuddle weather. But I truly appreciate the time that you dedicated for this episode. It was really helpful. It was really enriching for most of my listeners. I'm sure those peeps, range 18 to 27, and even outside of my age range, they could really relate to all of our experiences, all the advices, and all the other good stuff that y'all mentioned in this podcast.
No problem. It was fun.
Oh yeah.
It's cool.
Had
It's
fun
pretty
with
cool.
you too.
So before we go, are there any shameless plugs you would like to include, like for those who want to follow you guys? Are there any links or any accounts or like any stuff that you would like to include? Maybe there's some small businesses that you guys have on the side na gusto nyong i-bring up like to my audience. So this is your time to do it, guys.
Follow me on Instagram at it's Niki with 1K, as in ITSNIKI WITH. Number 1K. And what else is there? Oh yeah. Please buy from my family's restaurant. It's Aburi, your neighborhood Japanese restaurant. Currently, our BGC branch is open. Our branch in Alabang's open, and our branch in Laguna's open. But hopefully, our QC branch should open again soon. It's MECQ. It's hard to get people back and forth because there's no public transport.
So
for
guys-
me, it's sorry.
Oh, no. But yeah, basically Niki is with 1K. If you're confused, just think of the singer Niki from 88 Rising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just search my name. It's gonna pop up as me on Instagram.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, sorry for cutting you, Lia. Your turn.
No problem. Me, it's just on Instagram at alejo.lia. So whenever I buy from small businesses, like from my friends or from other stores, online stores, I plug it there. So maybe you can get more awareness on local businesses there. So that's good.
There you go. So those are the accounts that you guys should follow. Promise you're not going to be missing out on these ladies' content and all that. And I will surely be linking them in the description below and on my Facebook and IG posts for this episode. If you want to follow me, it is, well, first for my podcast account, it is at joat.pod.delro. If you want to follow my personal account, it is at Jake_Delro. If you want to check me out on Twitter as well, it is at _Del_Row_. And you can catch this podcast on Spotify, Anchor, Radio Public, Google Podcasts, and on YouTube. Also, if you want to check me out on Facebook, it is at just type Jake of All Trades with Delro. And those are all my plugs, and those are the sites where you can follow me. So with that being said, that's a wrap, y'all. Thank you for tuning in today, mga Del Bros and sisters. This has been your one and only Jake of All Trades, and I'm Delro, signing out. Hanggang sa susunod na usapan at chikahan. See ya. Say bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.